have some cool news. So I was able to procure a full 03 PRB ECU bin, and and this is the full ECU bin. So when you get like a firmware update from Honda, even through the HDS, you're only getting a partial file and an encrypted file of the firmware. So it just updates it. It's not the whole ECU file. So this is actually the whole entire ECU file, meaning if I can figure out what this code means, because I mean there's a lot of it. Let me see if I can scroll down. Oh, wait. There we go. Okay, I lost the bar in the camera. So yeah, this is a full ECU bin right here, and if I can figure out what each binary code means, I can actually program the RSX ECU. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to be able to revert KPROs back to OEM stock ECUs. So to be able to, and I already started working on that, I've been working on it a little bit, is take the KPRO ECU and then physically disconnect the jumper wires, revert the resistors back to OEM with the 0 instead of the 223. And the next problem is you have to, because when you have a KPRO, it erases the whole ECU. It erases like the whole ROM bin file in there. And I didn't have another, because when they did it to my computer, there was no way for me to save it, or, so I had to find a bin file, and then, I bought one. So I have an 03 RSX bin file, but you can see it just keeps going and going and going like this thing. If I keep scrolling, well, it'll go for quite a while. Probably, I don't know, like 10 minutes. But that's the plan is, so once I have this bin file, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to figure out a way to upload it to the computer, and I have to buy some expensive equipment. It's cost me around $500. And I'm gonna have to buy it from China, and you don't want to buy anything from China right now, because when you get the tariffs, it's gonna be pretty much double. So if you pay $100 for something, you're gonna pay $200. If you pay $200, you're gonna pay $400. So you don't want to order anything from China right now. And the thing is, I have to order a special programmer to write the firmware to the ECU. Oh, okay, I guess that was it on the thing. Now it's just F switcher 0, so it's blank. No, oh man, look, there's a ton there. So yeah, it just keeps going forever. But that's what the plan is. So I think I figured out a way to do it. So I figured out a way, I came up with a plan to be able to write OEM firmware back onto the ECU. And this will be for the 02 to 04. The 05 to 06, all that stuff is super easy. The 02 to 04, way more difficult. That's why everybody has an application for the 05, 06, like K-Tuner, blah, 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 and all these other ones, is because it's very easy to work with. The 02 to 04 compatible KPROs, a lot harder. So I'll talk about something else. So like this ECU bin right here, so when you pull it out, it's actually partially encrypted. So you have to take it's a RWD file.gz, and that file the encrypted parts have to be decrypted. And then when you get a firmware update, it's encrypted. So this right here has been decrypted. And what Honda KPRO did is they took all this code. I don't know how they did it, but I'm not a programmer, but I can program small things and understand what they are. But they pretty much took this code and rewrote their own code and modified this code for the KPRO. So like even their bin on their KPRO, the stock PRB bin, it's not actually an OEM PRB bin. Does it replicate the OEM PRB bin? Yeah, it does. But it's not the actual. So like if you were to go take it to Smog in California, you'll get a checksum error, meaning that the data doesn't add up right, and it creates a checksum which has to read a certain number. And if you modify that code, it gives you back a different checksum. And what you can see there's like things there. But yeah, so if you have a modified computer in California, you can't pass Smog, because that checksum error will show up, and it'll go directly over the internet to the Bureau of Automotive Repair. That's another reason why I left California, is because I'm into cars and modifying them, and it's a pain in the ass to do any of that there. So what you have to do is you have to run a stock ECU. You can't just have KPRO and load the PRB stock bin. They'll know you have a modified computer. So this is part of the reason why I thought it'd be a good idea to revert the KPROs, because you could do a bunch of different things. If you want to use your KPRO on another ECU, you can sell your old one, and then you can use it to have two computers and pass smog. And like I have a mobilizer video, you can clone the immobilizer, so you can just use one key for multiple ECUs, usually two, and then you can just swap your stock one to your KPRO one. And the other thing with the reverse lockout, you basically have a PRB ECU if you use KPRO. But the thing is, what my intention with this is I want to be able to rewrite the PND and PNF and all the other ECUs with this stock bin file. So technically, without using KPRO, I can flash this file onto KPRO compatible ECUs like the CRV, the 02 to 04 CRV, the PRB, the PND ECU, and then the PNF off the Civic Si EP3, and the PPL PPA, which is the CRV stuff. And then once I do that, I can just add the reverse lockout and convert any of these ECUs into a PRB ECU without KPRO. Right now, without the equipment, I can only do that with KPRO. But I want to be able to add reverse lockout, because this firmware right here, if you were to run it, if I was able to program a PND without KPRO, it would have the firmware as the RSX, meaning the reverse lockout would be coded in here, meaning I can add my Ottis Racing reverse lockout kit, and how I would have an exact PRB ECU clone, basically, without the use of KPRO, because KPRO is expensive and they're hard to deal with. I don't know if they try to keep their stuff proprietary or something, is why they're so secretive and they don't really react to stuff. I don't know, they act like ChatGPT or like Grok. They're just real straight to the point, and I don't know, they're just strange to deal with. But so that's the plan right there. That's the one thing I've been working on. So revert KPROs to stock ECUs, which will allow me to do so many other things, which will allow me, once I do that, convert all the KPRO compatible ECUs to a PRB. And then the next thing I'm working on is, after I do that, I will be converting the 02 to 04 auto ECUs to manual ECUs, which will include the VSS on there without using KPRO. So you'll be able to have a full auto, or take a full auto ECU, convert it to manual without the use of KPRO. So these are my goals right here. I don't really plan on going any further than that. Maybe to sell some stuff. That's why I'm selling the reverse lockout kits, is so I can use that money to buy the programmers, because I spent a lot on those reverse lockout kits. It cost me a lot. I ended up ordering like 100 of them, but I only have 9 right now because they sent the wrong parts, and they did this twice, and then I had to pay VAT tax, which cost me more than the parts themselves. The VAT tax, I don't know what's going on with the tariffs. This stuff from China is costing more than the actual part. And the worst part about it is they include the shipping charges, which are real steep, into the total price. So meaning, if you pay $500 for something and the shipping's $500, you're paying for $1,000 item instead of a $500 item, because they tax on that shipping to the total value of the item, which is completely retarded. And I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. But yeah, these are the projects I'm working on. So I don't know how long it's going to take me. It could take me months. It could be faster. Just depends. One of the things I'll just show you when I buy it. One of the things is I'm going to start using IHDS instead of the HDS. And I'll show you how I do that later. So I hope this was informative for you. I'll catch you later.